Hello everyone, Zellerant here, and today I thought we'd talk about Etheria Restart and kind of preparing yourself for the coming final test that they're going to be having for it. And this is going to be more focused on how you can utilize the final test to prepare for launch. Because anyone that knows my opinions on betas and final tests, I like to play them to an extent that I get an understanding of all the systems and kind of give my feedback on anything that I see that may be an issue or any of that, kind of bugs and all that. And then that's it. I never push very far into them. But the one thing that we have a huge advantage of with this is it can really help you prepare for launch. And there's a couple ways that it can help with that. The first one is the one that is big with this one that you don't see in many gacha games when they do beta tests, which is this one is a paid final test where you will actually have access to the cash shop here once the test is available. And the great thing with this is you can spend the money in the game and buy these things that you would plan to buy on launch, like the monthly supply card, any of the weekly packs, the beginner's packs, all that. You can buy those in game, and there's going to be a rebate on those, so you will get that money back when you actually start the game on launch. But you will actually get a percentage top-up on top of that, which there's a chart on the Discord for that. So you actually will get more than you spend if you buy it within this before launch than if you just spent the money on launch. So that's one way you can take advantage of this right off the bat, especially if you already know you want to spend money. Now, don't spend tons of money thinking, oh, I got to take advantage of this rebate or anything. I mean, there's no, if you don't know how much you want to spend or any of that, don't feel like you have to. But if you already know, I'm going to get that monthly supply card at the beginning of the game because I buy the monthly passes in any gacha game I play, it's going to be the perfect opportunity to get it here and get a little bit of a top-up on top of that. If you're a big fan of the beginner packs, one thing I'm usually a fan of, since they are usually the best value in the game and the value never comes back, that may be something you might want to buy as well and try out within here. And that way you'll get a little bit of a top-up on top of it when the game launches. So that is one great thing there. You'll kind of get the feel for the shop, everything in here. And you can see, and I plan to make a video on the shop and kind of my thoughts on what areas you may want to spend money and all that once the beta comes out. But that's one way. And then the other big thing, and this is kind of the biggest thing I find with betas, is getting to familiarize with all of the characters that you can get in the game and then try them out and then planning for who you want to get on launch. Now, one thing you'll hear probably a lot of people saying you do not need to reroll in this game, and I will kind of agree to a certain extent. This is one of a gacha game where I feel like rerolling is not going to be near as important, especially if you're one of those people that hates doing it. Don't feel like you'll have to do rerolling on this game. But I feel like there is a way to min-max the game by rerolling. Now, one of the first ways that'll be pretty obvious is you can reroll to get yourself some luck. So even though there is no 50-50 on the banners, you can guarantee Freya within a single 10 pull if you just reroll until you get her in a single 10 pull. So that's one way you can use rerolling to take advantage of, because if you do that, then whatever the next limited banner unit comes out is, you're going to be able to probably have a guarantee on them as well if you can get her in one shot. But there's actually another approach. I think that one's not as important. That one's like the least important one, since there's no 50-50 system. Then their hard pity's not that bad. And the units themselves are not truly limited because they get put into the permanent summon banner here. But there's the approach, and this is how I plan to re-roll on the game. And this is why it's going to be important to figure out which characters you like most in this game. And that is, you want to plan or figure out the characters, but you also want to learn which multiple of these that you want, because you can re-roll and pull on the permanent summon banner until you get a character in like a single 10 pull or maybe 20 pulls, and then it's a character you want. So, for example, I want Tiamat. I plan to re-roll on the permanent summon banner until I get one of the characters I want. That way I can then use the beginner banner to select another one I want. And then after that, I will pull on Freya's banner to get her guaranteed. And I will start the game immediately with 3 units that I want versus 2, which most people will get when they just do the target and her, and then maybe pull a little bit on the permanent banner to try and get another unit. But this way I can guarantee 3 units versus 2. And that's why you may want to reroll. And so what you can do to take advantage of in the beta is figuring out where that reroll point is. Now, there will be guides. I'll end up making a guide on how to reroll or the best opportunity to reroll in this game. But it's different versus watching a video. Like I'll make a video on how to reroll and all that once I've got it down, but it always is, you still have to learn like the process. You have to run through it and then do it. Well, in this case, you can just practice it beforehand and know what you need to do to reroll and kind of get an idea of where the good stopping points are, whether it's at like when you get your very first 10 pull maybe, or what, because it's usually in these games, as soon as you get access to the mailbox, that's usually the stopping point of, all right, let's go do our rolls. And then if you don't get what you want, you re-roll from there. So that's another great thing that you can take advantage of for as well. And since you can get 3 characters, that's why I'm saying you're going to probably want to learn in the beta which characters you want to target. Because if you're re-rolling, you want to have target characters. So, for example, my main targets right now are Tiamat. I think Tsukiyomi, I think that's how you say him. Tsukiyomi is a target one. I would really like to get Lily as well. Lily might be the more important one to get since she's under the harder to get units here. But Lily is a good target. And then Rosa. Those are my current targets. But I haven't messed around with every single character's kit yet to kind of get an understanding of it yet. So that's always subject to change. But that's kind of what you want to plan. Which characters do you want to get? And so you could take advantage of this final test to do that as well as kind of looking at all the different systems. One thing that's always a pain in the butt, especially if you just go straight into a game on launch versus having tried it in the past, is learning all of the systems. And that is kind of like when you look at your characters here. So if I go to one and like you'll be like, what are the modules, or what are the skills in this? How do these all work? What is a shell and all that? You can utilize this to actually know like all the systems in the game, kind of how events are going to work, how the story progresses, how you can min-max your currency or that so that you can move through it as quickly and efficiently as possible so you don't feel like you fall behind. Because if you play a game like, if you played something like Sword of Convalia, for example, on launch, there was a way to push really, really far in that game if you took advantage of I forget what it was called, but it was like an event banner where if you did certain things, you could get that currency that gave you back energy. And if you did it correctly and efficiently, you could actually push really far before you started actually having true energy issues. Well, while it might be an issue in this game, if you just go straight into doing challenges and burning all of your energy on challenges versus doing the events that can give you the more energy and all that, because leveling up gives you energy and that kind of things, and these events will give you XP towards your leveling. So utilizing it for that is another big thing that I find important in betas. But yeah, that's kind of just my thoughts on it. I'm going to be fairly simple on it. I'm just going to go in, figure out what the reroll point is, what's a good point to reroll, and then from there I'll pretty much be done, in my opinion, because that's the main thing. I want to know where do I need to stop to reroll, and then figure out the characters I want, and then I'm ready for launch. And then it's going right into launch, get the characters I want, and then push through it. But yeah, that's pretty much it. I just thought I'd kind of get my thoughts out there for those that didn't know how they want to maybe approach the final test. But yeah, if you like my content, if you could like, comment, and subscribe, it really helps, and thanks for watching.